Today's guest knows how to navigate turbulence, both in the air and in the spotlight. You may know him as Pilot Pete from The Bachelor, but beyond the camera, he's a real-world disruptor, balancing life at 30,000 feet as an airline captain with an entrepreneurial mindset that's taking him beyond the cockpit. From reality TV fame to flying high in business and beyond, Peter Weber is rewriting the script on what it means to chase your passions. Buckle up, because this conversation is about to take off.
Hi, everybody. I'm with Peter Weber. Now, you may not know him. You may know him. He may be one of those type of faces that you go, I think I know him. You know, when you go walking down the street, you go, where did I see him before? But Peter actually has an interesting career, and it's something that I've always wanted to talk about on this particular show, because as we start thinking about how people are receiving information, looking at information, the show's all about disruption.
Yeah.
But in that, it's also how we're entertained. And the way I got to know Peter was actually seeing you on The Bachelor. And I don't think I need to educate anybody on The Bachelor, but kind of walk me through some of those experiences. And first of all, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, good to be here.
You know what I mean? What do you think so far of the Fontainebleau?
Oh my God, this place is gorgeous. I remember flying, so early in my career, I was flying corporate out of Van Nuys, and I'd be in Vegas every other weekend. This was like my main route. And I remember flying in and seeing this, the structure was built. Right.
Correct.
And then like I remember hearing it kind of like pause for a second, and it's like, man, are they ever getting? And then I heard it was going to possibly be torn down. I'm like, no freaking way. They did all that to tear it down. So it's cool to like actually being here and check it out. Definitely impressed.
Yeah, the facility is gorgeous, and it's one of the reasons why we have the show here is just because we're meeting so many young people like yourself, and I think the message has to be said. You know, this is not only new Vegas because of the Fontainebleau, old Vegas is kind of peeling away, and so we thought once again a show like this can meet young people like yourselves, innovators, or whatever the case that you may be. But again, the way we're absorbing information is completely different. So without me talking, because that's not what my job is, kind of walk me through, because I don't even know the first thing on how to get on a show. So how did you think about it? Where'd you get on? How'd you get on? Kind of walk me through that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting story, almost like serendipitous. And it's kind of cool because it almost merges. If you go back, it almost merges my life, what ended up happening with my career, me becoming a pilot, the whole reality game and the space and all that together. First time I ever watched The Bachelor was freshman year of college, actually. And
what year?
This would have been 2009.
Wow.
Yeah, 2009. And never heard about the show. Me and my best friend, we were roommates, best friend from high school. We were roommates at Baylor University, and two of our good friends, they loved the show. So they invited us over to watch an episode, and it was super cool because I remember watching The Bachelor at that time. His name was Jake Pavelka, and he was an airline pilot. And I remember looking at him and I'm just like, that is so freaking cool. Like living my dream, you know, being an airline pilot, flying all around the world, having the opportunity to, you know, travel the world and date, you know, to try to find a wife and hopefully have success with that. And I just remember like being almost in awe of that. I'm like, what a cool experience he must be going through.
Yeah. So now this is a little bit of an age gap. When I first met Bachelor, I'm like, gosh, man, this is kind of weird. You know what I mean? So what attracted you to that? Because, you know, the concept of dating on television and so on and so forth, and having a lot of people, maybe I'm too shy for it, or I'm not confident enough. Why did you like the show so much?
It's funny, actually. I naturally am a very shy person as well. Always been.
We react differently to it.
I guess so. Yeah.
It's a cultural thing, or maybe it's an age thing.
Yeah. I've always kind of been, to be very frank, a lot more introverted than people I think, you know, actually believe that I am. And
yeah, because you don't strike me as that.
And I get that all the time.
Yeah.
And I think I'm able to kind of break out of that shell. It kind of requires a lot of energy, but naturally in my core, a lot more of a shy kind of introverted person. And I remember seeing this show, you know, I'm a freshman in college, and fast forward about 10 years later, I had, you know, on Instagram recently, randomly received a DM from a producer saying that, you know, they thought that I'd be a good fit for the show. They'd like me to put an application in.
They just literally saw you and said, come on the show.
Super random. And actually, it's funny. I actually found out in the last couple of months.
How did that happen?
Right. Really random. She actually asked, or she's like, hey, you want to know how I ever found you? I was like, yeah, I've always wondered that. I grew up in Westlake Village, California, which is actually really close to where the show films. Literally 10-minute drive from my house to the mansion where The Bachelor is. And there is a famous wine bar called Stonehouse that is like in that area. And she, I guess, had gone onto the Stonehouse Instagram and looked at tag pictures. And she was like the recruiter for the California area. That's how she found me. I guess I was tagged in a picture or something and reached out, and that started the whole process. I wasn't like looking for it. I wasn't, trying to pursue to get on it. But once I got that DM, I was like, all right, we're going to go with it. And then you kind of fast forward through the whole process. It's a couple months of, auditions. And
So what do they do? Make you read lines? What do they do? Ask you a bunch of questions?
it's not lines. There's nothing like scripted about it, but it's just trying to get to know your personality, get to know who you are, what you're looking for, why.
It'd be natural that.
It's very difficult.
I'd be like, where's my hands go? How do I talk?
Yes.
Right?
It's an uncomfortable. I actually almost left. I remember. I haven't really told many people this. When I was in the Bachelorette, it was such just like a crazy experience. But you're thrust into this, and there's cameras everywhere, and it's just like very unnatural, and you have to like try to tune out all these cameras and act like it's just you and this girl and trying to like form a connection. And for me, it was a little bit too much in the beginning. I remember like a week and a half in, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Like I may have to like pull out. This is like a little too much. Decided to press on and keep going with it, and ultimately happy that I did. But yeah, so started that process.
And we have like a little studio here, and I look at the cameras that are all around here, and I get intimidated at times when I'm like, go look in the camera, or go look over here, or look over there, or whatever the case may be. So you have a ton of these cameras. You're talking to a girl. How does that get even reasonably intimate? Like, how can you even have a deep conversation? I would be totally freaked out.
Good point. It just kind of happens. Like I think just through repetition, you just kind of get used to it, and eventually you do kind of zone it out where you don't really realize you're filming a TV show, which ideally is the goal.
So you just kind of block it out.
Eventually you do get to that point, but there's kind of growing pains, and I definitely kind of struggled with that. But I would say like 2 weeks in, kind of found my groove and everything. And then I think you just naturally forming an actual real connection with someone that distracts you from everything. And
now, did you like, in order to form that connection, like off camera, did you guys go out at all just to kind of get to know each other a little better, or was it had to be on camera at all times? That was something I've always wanted to ask.
Yeah, you never have an opportunity to see the person if you're not filming. So
it is right there.
Yeah, every time you've ever seen that person throughout the whole 2 months of filming, it's being recorded. It's all content for the show, which is that's a little annoying. There was like a handful of times where you'd be doing moving from location to location so you could share a car, and that was like the one time where it was off camera, and you have producers though like, hey, don't talk too much or whatnot, because they want to be able to capture it. But it's just it's a really unique experience, very different, very unorthodox. It didn't work for me, right? But it definitely can work, and there's been a lot of success.
And why didn't it work for you?
That's a good question. I'm
just asking.
I'm not sure. The first time around, so it was the Bachelorette, right? So it was a girl that was dating a bunch of guys, and it wasn't my call. She just, didn't choose me, and it's all good.
And where are you now?
She's doing great. She's
I dare you to prove it.
No, she's. I think she's.
Let's call her out. No, I'm kidding.
No, she's a great girl. But
yeah.
And then I was, lucky enough to be offered to go be the Bachelor the next season.
So Bachelorette.
Yeah.
You Zappo, right? You go into a little bug machine, bzz, you're out.
Yeah.
Then you get a call to go into the Bachelor. So they thought, let's give this guy another chance, or the producers say, oh, he scored well. I don't understand the business. So or they just liked you, or.
I think, a little bit of all that kind of combined. I had gone pretty far in the Bachelorette, so I guess I was received well by the audience.
You were deep in the draft.
Yeah, I had gone pretty much to the end, and it was just the kind of the last location she had let me go there. So I'd gone a good majority, and then I guess they just thought that I'd be a good fit, and they offered it to me, and I just remember being like, holy shit, this is
cool.
And what was crazy for me is, again, the serendipitous part of it. I'm like pinching myself. I'm like, and I'm a huge manifester, right? But not that I even manifested this, but I like would.
Well, you kind of did at Baylor.
I guess, but
right?
Like I wasn't really realistically thinking that would ever be me. It kind of, and it was like 10 years, I think, the 10-year anniversary of when Jake, the pilot, had done it. And then now I'm doing it. And so just kind of like a crazy pinch yourself.
I manifested that was going to be on GQ. Hasn't happened, but
Hey, it'll happen.
no, I don't think so.
Give it time.
That's been a long time.
Yeah, so it was just a really cool, unique experience. But then came the workaround. So flying, right, being an airline pilot, it's always been my dream, my ultimate passion. It's what I want to do till the day I have to retire, God willing, when I'm 65. And when they forced me out there, but I was
and that's
never
insane because you're an international pilot, right? I mean, you're
Yeah.
going back and forth. You
Just got back from Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. So
For those who don't know, that's really far away from Las Vegas.
that was
I've actually traveled that. It really, really
going in
sucks.
from LA. There was the longest
sucks,
flight actually I've ever done. It was
It's terrible.
16.2 hours.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, it was a long flight.
At any rate,
Actually, fun fact: the longer the flight, the easier it is for the pilot, because we have anything over 12 hours. We're dual augmented, so we actually have 4 pilots. So you're actually sleeping half of it, flying half of it. So longer the flight, longer the break. But yeah, anyway, so I was never gonna leave that. And a lot of people kind of come on the show, and I don't want to say it's not quote unquote for the right reasons, but there's a lot of opportunities that kind of come from being on a show like that and kind of creating an influencer career or whatever it may be. For me, I was never going to go that route like fully. It was going to take advantage for sure of opportunities, but like flying, I was always going to stick with that.
and all of a sudden we know that you went to the Bachelor.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you went to the Bachelorette.
Bachelorette, then
Bachelorette. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Bachelorette, Bachelor. So you were one to be rejected, and then you were the rejector. You know
I
what
guess,
mean?
yeah. That's
Right. I mean, that's just the way I look at it.
Yeah.
How did that feel? I mean, it's a different responsibility because now you're watching people that you're saying,
Yeah.
"See you later."
A
To.
lot harder to reject than be rejected.
I think so.
A lot harder. And then especially you add in millions of opinions around the country or the world or whatever. And
So you were a jerk to some.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you can't make everyone happy. That's, I think, one of the biggest lessons that I learned from the show. I've always been a big people pleaser, like just naturally, like that's been a quality of mine. And there's pros to that, but there's also cons. And this show, like, forced me to grow out of that, at least a little bit, right? Just because it can kind of consume you and you're never going to make every single person happy. And ultimately you have to make decisions, while being respectful and doing the right thing for yourself and be okay with, pissing off some people.
Maybe this is why I was having a tough time relating to the show because I watch people so engrossed in the show. They vicariously lived, through their experiences and got emotionally engaged.
Mm-hmm.
I just found myself, not that I've really watched it a lot, but it was tough to me getting emotionally engaged because of that element of television.
Yeah.
But I mean, how do you argue with success? I mean, these programs, these shows are massively successful. So how did it end for you on that particular show? You chose somebody and then it was, happily ever after or what?
Not really. I had a very tumultuous up and down experience. I think the show probably liked it because it created a lot of drama, if you will. But I've always been a lover, like huge lover. It's just been me, and I think that got me into trouble a little bit because kind of
You fell in love with everyone?
with multiple. Yeah, if I'm being honest, like it. And how could I not? Like, there were amazing women, and you were spending 2 months doing the most extravagant, insane dates, and it's definitely like a weird honeymoon effect before you're even at that stage with these people. So ultimately, long story short, proposed to a girl. Probably shouldn't have. I'll be honest.
Really?
And then
You actually proposed. And
yeah.
You meant it.
in this at the time, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying in the moment. You were
Yeah.
like, I'm all in.
for sure.
Okay.
Granted, to be completely fair and honest, there's a lot of pressure for sure on a production like that from producers and just like the weight of carrying this show, right? Like it's your season and it's like, I kind of want it to be, be successful.
Are they
And-
kind of prompting? I don't want to give away trade secrets, but I mean, are they kind of saying, hey, if you're feeling it, put the ring on it?
Ultimately, it's always my call or whoever's in that position.
course.
No one forces anything, but there's definitely nudging and there's definitely kind of like a little
Come on,
pressure.
if you love her.
Yeah, exactly. And that's their job, and that's what makes good TV and makes it, to where they get ratings and people come back, right, to watch it. But yeah, so that relationship ended, and then I ended up dating another girl from the show for about like 3 years on and off. And then that relationship ended maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And yeah, so unfortunately, the whole point of it didn't necessarily work out for me, but very grateful for a lot of the experiences.
Now, I've also seen, now maybe this is ages me a little bit, but I've also seen programs thereafter that kind of go through the autopsy of all these shows and putting on ex-girlfriends and so on and so forth. Did you ever participate in any of that? Because I remember seeing one once where, a guy like you would be up there and then they bring up and there was some real emotions up there. Some of these women were really pissed.
Yeah. Believe me. Yeah, I felt it. They do a thing called, it's AFR, after the final rose. So
Okay, right.
It's a.
Did you ever go on that?
Yeah, you have to.
Okay, you have to.
Yeah.
So you got up there.
Oh yeah, and you face them all, and they have an opportunity to say their piece about whatever it is, and again, that's why I'm saying it was so much harder being the rejector than the rejected, just because again you have so many people's emotions that you're kind of almost responsible for, if you want to look at it in that perspective, and yeah, that part wasn't necessarily very fun, but again, that was a lot of growth for me. That was a reason where that growth occurred for me, just because ultimately you're going to drive yourself crazy if you're just trying to be a people pleaser and try to just do everything. You obviously can't pick everyone, right? So, but yeah, that was a fun, interesting.
How do you
experience?
This is the dad in me. How did your parents deal with all this stuff? I mean, were they like, "Oh my God, that's my son up there," or was mom more engaged when you were rejecting these girls, or dad's like, "Hey, that's awesome," or I mean, are they just let you do your own career? It's just kind of a thought that kind of popped in the back.
Yeah, no, I mean, luckily I'm very close to my family, and they were definitely really involved in the show, which was really cool. And my mom, is my best friend, my, truest confidant. And, ultimately I, always believe that she, has my best interest with everything. And so, definitely relied on her a bunch when I was going through and they kind of bring the family in towards the end.
So she was kind of a consultant during the time.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Mom, what do you think of this?
Yeah. And my mom, I love her. She says it how it is and does not hold back. And, probably a quality I wish I had more of in me, but, yeah, definitely it was nice to have the family there.
Do you feel this program, and I'm going to get back to something, made you grow as a person?
Absolutely.
Really? So tell me the difference of after the show of who you are versus who you were. You know what I mean? Because you've said a couple things. You were an introvert.
Yeah.
This was kind of a side gig. So there might be an element like, I'll take it seriously to a moment in time. But what did you think you learned a little bit about yourself?
A lot more resilient than I ever truly thought. And I think from that, just a ton of confidence came from that experience. And again, I mentioned the whole introverted aspect. And while that quality still remains in me, and I'll probably never lose that, a different level of confidence and just okayness in who I am and being okay with that and not trying to be someone for someone else or things that just traps I've kind of fallen into previously before the show. I think a lot of strength, a lot of confidence came from this experience. And I don't really know if I could have gotten it in the way that I did if it wasn't for this experience. So that's a huge reason to, be super grateful. Again, obviously very unorthodox and all that, but just also kind of, I'm a big proponent for always pushing yourself and getting out of your comfort zone. And this was the ultimate getting out of my comfort zone. And, just so happy that I did do it. And again, yeah, I think just a renewed sense of confidence in myself and strength and and resiliency.
But then after these shows,
Yeah.
you didn't just go back to be a pilot. I mean, you are, but you also are doing something else now, and you did something else. Can you kind of go through your career and kind of give me the evolution of that?
Yeah.
Because you strike me as a guy who says, yeah, I'm interested if you're interested,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not, actively out there with agents looking for opportunities. They seem to be calling you.
Yeah. I've just been.
You were on this new show called Traitors. Okay.
The Traitors. Yeah.
Yeah, the Traitors. And, walk me through the program a little bit, what you did there and how you did it.
That was the coolest thing I've ever done. Like for sure. Like that was just the most insane experience ever. But yeah, to your point, I guess, yeah, I've never been someone to look for these kind of opportunities or actively be seeking them. Just for whatever reason, have been, blessed that they've kind of come to me. And it's been something, if it made sense, I would say yes. If it would work with my career, I would say yes. And it's been cool to, again, I keep saying unorthodox, and I feel like that's just a really good way to kind of explain my trajectory and what I do with my career with flying and everything else. Because I don't really think there's many people, I guess, in the industry, if you will, that I guess kind of do it the way that I do it.
I've not met one.
And yeah, and I guess, I think there's a little bit of pride I take in that. And that's just me. And
I think it's pretty cool.
yeah, I'll that's just who I am. But Traitors was an incredible experience. Really, really fun show. Alan Cummings, the host, just had a blast. And that was a lot more. I'm never gonna do another live show again because not my forte. But the whole aspect of like mystery and gameplay and strategy and all that was something I absolutely loved.
But you seemed, and that we can't talk about it because you're in the process of going on to another program as well. And so,
Yeah.
I highly suggest, for those who are watching this program to to continue to follow you. But you seem to be getting called back. So there's an element of who you are that seems to be, drawn to the television. Do you see, which path do you see? You're gonna be a pilot? I get the pilot concept. Okay, very stable and all that kind of stuff. Does this thing take off for you? Because it just seems like they keep bringing you back.
Yeah, very, very lucky, I guess, to have these opportunities. Again, ultimately, I will fly, like I said, till I'm 65 when I'm forced out. I'll never leave that. That's just what makes that ignites
you
my
happy.
soul. That to me, there's no place when I, take the runway and we get clear for takeoff and I put my hands on the throttle every single time. I mean, every single time. It's never gone away. There is a high that goes through my entire body that is just like, I love my job. I love what I do. And so I'll never leave that. And again, this whole reality aspect, again, people do this for a bunch of different reasons. I honestly, I do it because they're fun opportunities and they're cool. They make for cool stories, later on. And, yeah, that's honestly like the whole fame aspect or whatever. There's nothing for me, to be completely honest.
But maybe that's what the attraction is, and why people feel that you're authentic on in front of the camera, because there is a certain element of, not necessarily that I don't care, but you are kind of true to who you are from an integrity perspective.
And I got that. Yeah, growing up with my parents, they raised me very well, and very, very thankful for that. So I think those kind of values, just have kept with me, and just feel very, very lucky, very fortunate. I always just have so much gratitude for.
Peter, I just want to thank you for being here, because I keep going back to the concept of why we're here on this particular program. Is I just think the way people are absorbing information today is completely different. We've had celebrities like yourself, we've had innovators, technology, finance, all that stuff, but everyone's absorbing their information differently. And dating is clearly one of those issues. So I wanted to have you on the show to kind of talk about it.
Hey,
because the way we met people, again, ageism here for me, but I didn't have a cell phone. So you just kind of had to say, hey, how's it going? What's going on? But now, with all these mediums and all these opportunities, I don't know how you guys guide through it, but it's been a real pleasure to talk to you today.
Yeah, absolutely. Likewise. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks, bro.
Can I ask him a question? I just
Changing the game, shattering expectations, rewriting the rules. Meet the new visionaries, the rebels, the ones who dare to disrupt.
When you're on a show like this, we're always talking about disruption. And when you're talking about disruptive natures of any business, you're talking about innovation.
Exploring the industries revolutionizing our world.
They're trying to create FOMO for their friends. This is what today everything is about. You just put a regular steak on the table, they're not taking their phone out and filming that. You bring it out in a briefcase and you do a whole show and a shebang and dancers around it, and then you brand it with the Poppy Steak logo, they're taking out their phone.
The Disruptors. From the Fontainebleau Las Vegas Resort.